We can be courageous like Peter's courageous because Jesus is the hero, not us. We can be courageous because Jesus is the hero, not us. Look what he says. So we got this scene. This guy's clinging to Peter and John. All the people, utterly astounded, ran together to them. Everyone's gathering around. It's like, oh my gosh, Peter and John, look, they healed this guy. It was by their power. It was because these are really godly and holy and righteous men that they healed this guy. And Peter says this, men of Israel, why do you wonder at this? Or why do you stare at us? Why do you stare at us as though by our own power or piety or holiness, we have made him walk? Peter's standing up and saying, don't be confused. It wasn't me and John that did anything. It was Jesus. Because right after this verse, we're going to see he starts expounding on who Jesus is and what Jesus has done. So the very first thing, the very foundation of true gospel-centered Christian life courage is that Jesus is the hero, not you, not me. This is incredibly good news for us because we know we're told to be courageous and we want to be courageous, but a lot of times we're not courageous because we're like, well, who am I to tell them oh, be more like me? It's like, I don't have it together any better than anyone else. It's not like I'm going to be able to point them to me and I can just be like, hey, would you be like me and pull yourself up by your bootstraps and be a better and godly and powerful person? Peter doesn't do that. Peter says, no, don't look at us. It's not by our power, it's not by our holiness that this healing happened. And he goes on to point people to Jesus. Everyone's utterly astounded and there needs to be an explanation. And so Peter, being a good gospel preacher, points people first of all to Jesus. Let me give you kind of an illustration of how this works. Say the world has taken a turn for the worst, or maybe a worse turn than we've already taken, right? So imagine a famine comes across the world and there's a lack of clean water. So we don't have food, we don't have clean water, right? The whole world. And you're in the middle of it, and this guy comes up to you and gives you food, and then he gives you clean water, and he tells you, I've got enough food and clean water to feed and give drink to the entire world. And he says, now I want you to just go and tell people about me, that I've got the food, I've got the water. Right? So we receive it gladly. It's like, this guy's come. He's saved. He's giving me food. He's giving me water. And now he's told me to go. Now when we go, do we go, hey guys, check me out how awesome I am. I got food and water. She goes, well, that doesn't make sense. No, you didn't. Some guy came and gave it to you. So we know that we wouldn't just go out and be like, hey, check me out. By my holiness, by my power, I received this water and this food. No, we would go, there's this guy. And we're all stupid and didn't plant crops, and this guy planted crops. This guy saved it up and saved it up and saved it up. This guy dug a deep well, and he's not been affected by this famine and by this drought like we have. And he's told us that everyone who comes to him will be fed. Everyone who comes to him will get drink. You see the point? You see that when we are given, this is the biblical view of grace. We didn't do anything to earn or deserve the food and the water, as it were, that Jesus gives us. And so then we're able to go and be courageous, not going, look how awesome I am. Look to me. We're able to go, hey, there's this guy. He's God. His name's Jesus. He says, come to him, all who are thirsty. Come to him, all who are weary and heavy laden. He says he will give you rest. So we go not as the heroes, but as the ones who have been affected by the hero. So the Christian life is to go and to introduce people to the hero. Far too often in Christianity, far too often we think and we act and we live thinking that this whole thing rides on us. That's perhaps the biggest problem in the church, just at large, is that many Christians go through their life functionally living like and thinking like and acting like it's all riding on me. When in fact, this whole thing is riding on Jesus. Jesus is the hero, not you, not me. And some of us hear that and are like, oh man, I'm not the hero. I'm not like, I can't do everything I set my mind to. I can't like pull myself up. Some of us hear that and go, but those of us who know that we're not a hero, those of us who know we don't have what it takes, that's the news of the gospel that comes in and is comforting. That's the news of grace. Those who celebrate grace are those who really, really know they need it. And so then we can be courageous because we're not pointing people to ourselves. We're not pointing people to our church, as it were, and saying, oh, look, our church has got it together, and look at all these people. No, you guys know that's not true. We're in community group with each other. We know we don't have it together. We're a bunch of people that aren't okay looking to the one who is okay, and that's going to make us whole and complete. And it's Jesus. I want you to be freed from focusing on yourself. I want you to be freed from what I call being a navel-gazing Christian. We're always looking in. We're always looking, how am I doing? How am I performing? Am I doing good enough? Have I been good enough recently to really share the gospel with someone? What? The gospel's not about you. The gospel's about Jesus and what he's done for you. So hear me loud and clear. Some of you may be hearing this for the very first time, and some of you, maybe like me, need to be reminded of this all the time. Christianity's message is not, do something for Jesus. The message of Christianity is that Jesus has done everything for us. And Jesus on the cross, when he accomplished our redemption, he cried out, it is finished. He's the hero, not us. So we can be courageous like Peter. And we see Peter's courageous because he's like, no, look at me. I'm going to point you to Jesus. He's the hero.